I did talk to my lawyer yesterday. We gossiped a little about the Rekieta thing. In the law world, apparently, it is kind of a fun thing for them to gossip about too. It's very interesting. And I guess they've talked about how his motions seem like they're written by him, and they're terribly written. And one thing he did say, he's like, look, everybody does these dismissal things. There's nothing wrong with doing these dismissal things. It's remarkably common, but it's just the way they're written. They don't seem like they're written by a good lawyer. They seem like they're written by someone who's kind of flailing, if you will. And he did say, he said, depending on how far this thing goes, he said, in my experience, it seems like the prosecution and the county might be holding another charge in their pocket from the kid testing positive for cocaine. Like, once they can get through all that, if this thing goes any further, you know how they held on to April's charge for a long time to see what she did? I was talking to my lawyer yesterday, and he's like, I said, when that thing about the kid and cocaine came out, why didn't they throw another charge on there? He goes, they still could. He goes, there still could be a charge coming for that. I'm like, ooh, fascinating, interesting. So I guess it kind of all depends on how this goes and how it goes with him. And then we'll do the omnibus thing, because the omnibus thing is taking on a life of its own. I mean, Jesus Christ. If you go to the Kandiyohi County Courthouse today, you might see tailgating. You might see, banners with sigils on them. Kiwi Farms is called the banners. Ethan Ralph is called the banners. It's all over the goddamn place. But I went in, and all the police officers, even the prosecutors, the judge, all of them could not be nicer. Just really, even the prosecutor, when I pled guilty and told my side of it, the prosecutor even said, I've spoken to all parties involved. I can attest that Mr. Imholt does have a better relationship with certain people, and things are going very well, and things seem to have really taken a turn for the good, and we really hope that continues. And I'm looking over at the prosecutor. I'm like, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I was ready to give him one. I mean, you want to go grab a beer after this is over? It was the judge was a fucking sweetheart. Everybody, the bailiff was cool. And then I see this guy go up there. He's got a neck tattoo, T-shirt, and jeans on, and he's there for driving after revocation, and he's being a dick. Driving after revocation is pretty straightforward. You plead guilty, you take your fine, you don't get to drive for a long time, whatever. This guy sits there and goes, I'm pleading not guilty. I don't have a lawyer. I'm going to trial. I want all the body cams. I want all the dash cams. I want all this shit. He's ready for discovery and all that. And the judge has to sit there and go, sir, you get all that in discovery. You're going to have to go upstairs and get that and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, are you really going to do this? Are you going to do this without a lawyer? Blah. They're kind of treating him like he's a dumb shithead. And I think a lot of it was because he looked like a dumb shithead. Even the prosecutor, who's supposed to get this guy, goes, I offered you a deal before this. I really hope you take it before this pretrial hearing. I'm going to leave my card with the offer, and call me whenever you'd like. They were sitting there like, dude, would you please just consider taking this offer? They kind of treat you like shit. I think what it is it's a, people say, oh, it's a two-pronged judicial system. I don't think it is. I think it's if you show respect for the court, they show respect to you. It's like a mob thing. I guess, I know this is going to sound weird, but I had a good time. The guy who booked me for my fingerprints, it seemed like some of the officers were listeners, and they were trying to be professional, because there was a lot of joking around, and there was a lot of bullshitting and stuff like that. Fingerprint guy and I were joking around about marks on my fingers and pressing too hard and shit like that. And then as I'm leaving, a couple of the guys running the metal detectors and stuff were, joking about me going the wrong way and shit. It was, I hate to put it this way, but it was kind of fun. I had a good time. What are you going to do, right? I did what they said I did. I had to say I did it. And then they said, well, here's what we're going to do since you just made this easy. And they said, now be a good boy. And I said, I'll be a good boy. was I came out of that, my lawyer and I, both looking nice. I come out of the courthouse, and this is hilarious, guys. This is how magnetic, charismatic, and attracting Steel Toe is. Somebody was waiting outside the courthouse. Now, there was no time on when I was going to get out of there. It can take a while. It ultimately took like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I get out of there. I'm walking out, and there was somebody who drove all that way to hide somewhere and take a picture of me leaving the courthouse. And what's funny about this is they posted it thinking like Patrick Melton would think they're cool or they're awesome or whatever. I'm honored because I look great. And then even, I'm looking on Twitter, even the people who think I'm a piece of shit go, he does look good in that suit. That was my favorite, was when people were going, I thought there was going to be a mugshot too. All I got was when I met with the probation department guy, he took my picture with his phone by the wall, but that was for probationary purposes. That wasn't even a mugshot. I didn't get a mugshot. I was ready to go too, dressed nice. I was a smile nice, the whole deal. They just fingerprinted me. That was it. I'm in the system. So don't be, I guess Kiwi Farms people are going. Ethan Ralph is going. It's a whole thing. Like, it's going to be, I hope the Kiwi Farms, it sounds like the Kiwi Farms people are going to be pros. It sounds like they're going to be cool. And I really hope they are, because the last thing the Candy, Ohio County Courthouse needs is this thing turning into a spectacle and people being, like, if I'm Nick Rekieta, I would have asked Ethan Ralph to stay in Mexico. There's people I want on my side. There's people I don't want on my side. I don't want Ethan Ralph on my side. I don't want, because he shows up, he's got a magnet in him that just makes him act like a horse's ass everywhere he goes. And you just don't want a guy like your best cheerleader, being a horse's ass. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. He can't help it. He's low class. And that's coming from me. Here's a good, you know what a good cheerleader would be? I'm serious. Sober, clean, 2020 April Anderson. That shows up at court for you. If you're not married, if you don't have a Kayla already. If 2020 April Anderson April from 4 years ago shows up and she's smiling and she's concerned for you and everything, that looks good. That's a good cheerleader to have. When a fat, pilled out expat shows up to go, oh, I'm here to make sure Mr. Rekieta doesn't get railroaded. It's like, oh. But I think the wild card in this omnibus hearing, there's two wild cards. For the spectacle of it, how the Kiwis are going to behave. And I think they should behave themselves just fine, especially the really autistic ones, because when autistic people are really worried about how they're going to look socially, they're usually very, introverted and, they might look a little nervous. They might shake like a chihuahua on the 4th of July, but ultimately I think they're going to behave themselves. But you've already got Ethan Ralph out there going, I'm going to be filming before the omnibus hearing, and I'm going to film the Kiwis, and I'm going to walk right up to them. And if I'm outside the courtroom, there's nothing you can do.